And we are live. Welcome back to the Mecca of Banter podcast. Here where we chat footy with a little bit of banter every single week. You can count on that. I am this week's host, Henry Wind. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wind. And I'll say it. It's a great week to be a Manchester United fan. You know, just another day, just another week. It's a big week to be a Manchester United fan. We got a good cast today. We got the boys. Jake Wind. Can't imagine you're doing too well as a Chelsea fan, but welcome to the pod. How you doing?
Yeah, another sad week to be a Chelsea fan. The future's looking dim. The present is dim. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, wowza. I don't think, I could be wrong on this. I should definitely fact check this, but I don't think that we have had an episode yet where all of us have won coming into an episode. And as long as a Chelsea fan is going to be on this podcast, we will not have that. So thanks for taking the residential Chelsea fan abuse today. Andy Hoover coming off a big win. How you feeling today?
It's another day on the roller coaster, brother. We're doing well. Everything's and fine and grand in this camp today. That is so.
A happy Hoove is a great Hoove to have on a podcast.
Happy to be back. Happy to be here with the boys.
Welcome, my United brother, Connor Sindobri. How we doing?
As Hen said, another great week to be a United fan. Honestly, it's great to see you all. Super excited for this week and super excited to dive into it. I don't think I've been as excited for a week as a United fan in like a decade. So happy to dive into it, fellas. Happy to be here.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts. The man, the myth, the legend, the teacher, the gaffer, Ryan Bucci coming off 3 points. How are you feeling?
Dude, look at this smile. You see this? Look at my wife. I'm buzzing, dude. Finally freaking won a game, happy to be back with the fellas. I know I missed last week, but great win for Liverpool this weekend. We're the only team to have beaten Newcastle in the entirety of England. Twice we have beaten them, so it's a good week.
You get a trophy for that?
I'm sorry?
So you claiming a trophy for that or what, bro?
No, I'm just throwing,
Hey man, Tottenham fan here. Sometimes you have to claim what you can get.
I know,
that's a big stat. That's a big stat.
This season,
yeah, so
put it in the rafters. Put it in the rafters.
Well, welcome to the podcast, fellas. We have a great episode ahead. We're going to get into our weekly recap as we do every week, where we look backwards on our team's performance over the weekend or midweek. And then we're going to get into the Champions League as we have that this week. We're going to dive into the 4 games that we have, as well as the big showdown on Thursday with Manchester United and Barcelona. And finally, we will end our episode with our weekly fact or cap by Butch. So we're going to dive right in, fellas. Weekly recap. We're going to start off on the first game on Saturday, Arsenal-Villa. Arsenal, I want to say scraped by with a 4-2 win. And if you didn't watch the game, you would probably look at that scoreline and say 4-2 is like not exactly a scoreline that you would say scraped. But I'm going to say they scraped by with a 4-2 win. I know that we got up early to watch it. So what do you guys think on this one?
Interesting game. Very interesting game. I was kind of blown away that Villa came out so hot. Villa just came out flying. Arsenal did a good job of getting back into the game. Saka's goal was really well taken. A lot of momentum was kind of flushing Villa's way, and that kind of killed that momentum with that Saka goal. Jorginho, bro, this dude, man.
Dude, I was so mad.
Man.
I was so angry.
I feel like we gotta mention it. Like, this dude hits an absolute nuke, top corner, H Gouda, where the spiders are spinning webs, and it comes back down and it hits Emi Martinez straight in the dome piece. Like, dude, you can't make this up. Like, Jorginho, like, I will say, like, his goal to go up 3-2, he hit that extremely well. Like, he hit it so sweet. It was an absolute nuke. Like, it was really well struck. I was not expecting him to hit that. He's a pass first player. We all know that. He's not a shoot first kind of guy. But wow, I mean, pretty crazy game in my eyes.
Would have been nice to have that the last year and a half. Just throwing it in there.
Just anything like that.
Yeah, Jorginho has to leave Chelsea to score a goal, because no
dude.
one there can. But weird game though. I think and Butch, you're a huge fan of Unai Emery. You like the way that he sets up his teams. You think he's a great coach, and not saying that I don't. I think that he has consistently had United's number over the last couple of years watching him. But like you said, they came out ready to play. Arsenal has been notorious this year for scoring early and scoring often, and they didn't set the tone for this game at all. Lucas isn't here this week, obviously, but I think if he were here, he would tell you that it was a really gutsy win by Arsenal to come back, being down twice, and to come back and win it is a pretty big deal. How about Zinchenko's goal? Zinchenko's goal from the top of the box was nasty. It was awesome. And
first ever Premier League goal.
Yeah, and I think
It's
it was the
crazy
first
to
time
think about too.
Yeah.
I think the last time he scored was something like 2017 or 2016 or something like that. I heard it on a podcast today, just like some crazy stat. But I don't know. This Arsenal team is not convincing me. And I don't want to say that just to, talk shit without Winks here. But the last couple of weeks, they just haven't been it.
I think this is one of those where if you look at Arsenal's last 4 fixtures, losing to City, losing to Everton, tying Brentford, losing to City, they've been sort of spiraling to where this is one of those games where no matter how you do it, find a way to win. The performance doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's pretty, doesn't matter how you score. If you find a way to get 3 points, you right the ship, and it's a momentum game. And I've heard so many Arsenal fans, even reading Elliot's tweets, talking about how the game itself didn't matter. All that matters at the end of the day is 3 points, 4-2, 3-2, 2-1, however you win, the win is all that matters. And the thing we're not talking about is the fact that they won that game early in the morning. City is seeing that score that, winning that game, whether City players will admit it or not, they're checking their phones. They're looking to see the Arsenal score. And it adds that extra pressure going into a Forest game that we saw, not necessarily that it got to them, but it definitely affected them a little bit, to where the performance from Arsenal, not great. And they are spiraling a little bit, but at the end of the day, all that matters is 3 points. And however they got them, the 3 points keeps them top of the table with the game in hand. So obviously the Arsenal fans won't be happy with how they played, the fact they had to come back twice. I think at the end of the day, if I was an Arsenal fan, all that matters to me is seeing the 3 get added onto our total points. And that's, kind of the baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Be curious how they fare this upcoming weekend. They have Leicester, who obviously weren't a huge test for United, but were a huge test for Tottenham. And Tottenham's not a bad team. Yeah. So we'll see what version of Leicester comes out. But I think if they want to keep the momentum rolling, they got to show up this weekend. Moving right along to Chelsea, Southampton. James. Okay.
James, happy to have you here, man.
But so happy to have you.
Super glad.
I want to set the stage. For months, we've sat on this podcast and we've talked about the transfers. We've talked about the money spent. We've talked about Potter. We've talked about injuries. We've talked about those a lot. After what, 2-3 weeks ago, when you all did the Mecca moments, you talked about how now you'll really start to judge Graham Potter and his lineups that he puts out there, and the Chelsea players of how they want to play. And we were laughing last week, you and I, as we were leaving Amsterdam Tavern here in St. Louis after you all lost to Dortmund midweek, that at least you have Southampton this weekend, who is at the bottom of the table, and there's no possible way that you would lose to Southampton. And what do you do this weekend? Lose to Southampton 1-0. James Wine, welcome to the pod. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, let the record show I did not say that. By the way, that there's no way that we're going to lose, because I have no faith in anything anymore. The big thing for me, when you look at the last 4 games, if you look on FOTMob or any statistical site, Chelsea wins every single stat. It's the amount of passes, it's the amount of possessions, it's the amount of shots, it's the amount of chances, it's all of that. And yet we are one of the worst teams when it comes to scoring goals. For me, it was evident throughout the entirety of the game of great chances that we had. As weird as it sounds, Raheem Sterling was awesome. Was a great player when he got on the field. But again, he's not the guy that you look at to score goals. We just don't have that guy. I was really happy, whenever starting lineups came out, to not see Kai on the field. I really thought that. I'm hoping what it does, it kicks him in the ass a little bit and says it's time to move. I will say Fofana was a little disappointing, but the big thing that I liked from him was the willingness to shoot like from anywhere. I think he had 3 or 4 attempts from all kinds of crazy spots. And the thing for me is it's always like pass first on our team and just have somebody just shoot the fucking ball just at some point. But yeah, super disappointing. I'm sad. I'm in a bad spot.
Your background photo, I think, speaks for it all. Like it's a
Yeah.
picture of Graham Pooter looking at the ground, wondering
Yeah.
how he got in the press box in the first place. I think.
Yeah.
We've been so high on Enzo too, and for him to just get walked like that.
Oh, I know, poor guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And that's not his job. There's a whole bunch of things you can throw out there, but he got walked.
Yeah. Against Dortmund, that was not a good look.
He
Like
got
I
walked.
think not playing James against Southampton was a little preemptive on Potter's part. I think realistically at this point, like you got to play your dogs. Like you have to get a win. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Because like now you look at the future and like the next couple of games are not as easy as it was last game. And yeah, I mean, you look at Azpilicueta's foul against Southampton, it's just an unnecessary foul. Which James Ward-Prowse that ability to take the free kick and obviously score on that. So it's tough. And speaking of him, it's nice to see him doing well after getting absolutely smacked in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
I mean, I'm happy to see him like okay as well, because that's such a scary thing when someone gets knocked out like that.
Yeah.
But Jake, I don't know if you saw it, but I mean, it was blowing up all over social media. Azpilicueta is down, knocked out, getting treated by the medical staff, and you have João Felix and Mudryk at the top of the box playing pass with each other, just like bouncing around. Like it's such a weird dynamic to watch as a fan, and as a even as a not fan of Chelsea, I'm out here being like, I hope Azpilicueta is okay, and I like love United until I die. To have those guys on the field seemingly not give a fuck, it just feels like it's reflective of the larger issue going on at Chelsea.
For me, I have no problem with them like passing and staying warm, whatever you want to call it, but don't do it like 15 away from the guy. Like 15 feet, you're literally could hit it.
It's
like
so weird.
It's just too close. I think there's a larger issue going with lack of cohesion with the group. I think there's definitely certain pockets of guys that are working well. But I think everybody's just so frustrated at this point. I think you just got to do everything you can to at least scrape some points out. Obviously, dropping points to Southampton is definitely going to be what I hope to be the down part of the season. I mean, we're 11 points away from relegation. I don't think we'll get to that point, but at this rate, it's fucking scary. Like, dude,
that's insane.
That's like crazy
points, man.
Jake, where are you on the Potter train? Like, I know it's kind of a I texted this today about like I feel like the Chelsea fan base is not necessarily divided, but like there's so many different sides of give him more time or sack him now. I think it's just a frustration of having spent the money and not seeing the production yet. But like, where do you lie on Pottergate?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever he came in, obviously when you have a new manager that, like, quite frankly, I didn't know as much about as some of the other managers that have came into some of these other teams. Like I came into it with an open book. I kind of liked his temperament off the start, especially when you had somebody like Tuchel, who was so influential to what that team thought and their brand and all of that. And I think it's gone too far. Like, I think he kind of got himself in a position where, yes, he's like the even keeled, simple guy that doesn't flare up too much and it doesn't become too lackluster or anything like that, but it's starting to lean towards lackluster and just not keep being that voice. And I think there's a term, especially in hockey, that's like you lose the locker room, you lose your power over these guys. And I think that these guys are starting to kind of see that. Like, you do have guys that are incredible players. I'm not going to say, world-class players by any means, because none of them are fucking showing it. But I mean, at the same time, like, you have guys who have won Champions Leagues, who have done stuff, who are very influential to how any team in the Premier League could play whenever they're in the right system and doing the right thing. Yeah. So I think for me, like, I'm out on him personally, and I'm kind of willing to put that on record. Like, I think it's going to take a lot for me to say that now I start to agree with him. And I think it has to be a change in his temperament, because even last game, you have to be irate.
I think you see the bigger managers oftentimes, like, Arteta, sometimes you get on him for how he is on the sidelines, but oftentimes he's a direct reflection of how his team plays. Conte's the same way. Jurgen Klopp's the same way. Ten Hag is the same way. Where oftentimes, like, the team is sort of a reflection of how their manager approaches the game and their temperament as well. And I think you're sort of seeing the reflection of Chelsea in Potter's temperament and how, not just on the sidelines, but like you can kind of tell that, like, when they even go down, he doesn't have that, all right, let's go, guys, or he's pissed off. He's kind of just there, the same temperament the entire time. And I think it reflects in the way that, like, the Chelsea players are acting right now, at least a little bit. That's that's how I see it.
And I think part of it too is you're letting guys kind of get off easy. Like Mason and Kai are supposed to be your two offensive leaders coming into the season, and they haven't done anything. And yet they've been able to play the entire season with no repercussion. Like, I think you're kind of seeing a team that's kind of complacent after a Champions League win a couple of years ago. And now you're in a rebuilding period. Like, you sit 10th in the league. Like, why not take this time to really see what works? And I appreciate, especially over the last 4 games, playing 4 extremely different lineups. Like, he's definitely trying things, which I appreciate, but it's making the wrong choices at the right time. Like, especially whenever you have Kovacic come back for his first game, playing Koulibaly and Azpilicueta on his same side instead of keeping Silva or James. Like, you have to give him an outlet over there, because you see like Badiashile taking up more of that center back position and pushing over and helping Koulibaly some, is just playing it out to Chilwell a lot of times in a stationary position where Southampton's pushing. Like Henry sent me that link of watching, like, solely looking at Badiashile and Chilwell. Yeah, you have nowhere to go. Yeah. And I think it's a lack of, on Potter's part, saying, okay, we need to change something. And even through half, it was the same thing for another 45 minutes. It's tough to watch.
I guess what I'm so confused about is, like, one of his big, I mean, prior to his Chelsea appointment, we all in this chat were looking at Graham Potter at Brighton and looking at his, like, tactician side of things. He had the same temperament. It's not like he has a different temperament at Chelsea. It's just he was also proving it on the pitch that, like, he could just be the tactical genius that he was really showing that he was. I think that video that I sent you about those press triggers, it's so apparent that it's not working. On one hand, you can go the Ralph Ragnick route of Manchester United second semester last year, where you just show over and over that things aren't working and you need new players and you need new this and you need new that, or you have to pivot and change directions. And I guess, as fun as it is to point fingers at Chelsea and to laugh at you all consistently, and I'll keep doing it, but I'm just so surprised that Potter hasn't changed anything about the way that they play at all.
Yeah, and I think it's strange to see, like, Tuchel, who's thought of so defensive heavy, and still allow Chilwell and James to be able to roam the field wherever they want. And it seems like, especially on that left side, like, I've gotten on Cucurella a lot over the past year, but once you kind of showed me that video, like, Chilwell's making the same plays that Cucurella has been making, like, over and over again, of just receiving the ball and not moving. Whereas James can go in free flow and do whatever he does. Granted, he's the player that can do that. I don't know if Chilwell has the ability to go crazy like that. But it's
so weird though, because Cucurella came from Brighton. Like, he was the star in what he was doing with Potter, and was a specific player that he pulled and was like, all right, this is going to work out great. He's going to be able to play that swinging ball to the left side, but he just hasn't done it. But you're right. Ben Chilwell got shut down too.
Yeah. And I think the way that, like, all credit to Southampton, like, they pressed extremely well. Like, I think you cut off, like, a big portion of Chelsea's moving forward, which is through their wingbacks. Like, you shut it down. Like, requiring for, like, especially like Madueke and Mount and Mudryk to be able to receive balls with players at their back already is probably more often than not their strong suit. And what you really want is for those guys to be able to be in a foot race, especially when you look at Mudryk. Like, yes, he touched the ball a lot more. No, he was not impressive still. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where the next couple of weeks go. Like, against Tottenham, I'm not super thrilled to go and play that game right now. I'm sure Hoove is fucking licking his chops, but yeah, we'll see.
Nah, you mistake me having confidence in my squad. Chelsea's had Spurs' number for years, but it's at home, so
I do have to mention, just because I think it's insane, is that Mason Mount played 64 minutes and completed 8 passes.
Yeah,
no way.
Dude, he was horrible.
Yeah, I
8?
sent a screenshot in the group chat. Bro.
8 passes.
Yeah.
He had
5.6 on Top Mom.
5.6 match rate.
As a center midfielder?
Yeah. He played more as a winger and played part of it. He
played out wide.
He also at one point was playing as a striker, which I don't understand. Like the wingers all flip flop where they play throughout the game. And I don't know if it's Potter telling him that or what, but it is so hard to keep track of where guys are supposed to be.
I think that's the point.
I'll pull like a few, if there is positives. Like I didn't watch the full game, but I went back and watched all the highlights. Like there was chances where Chelsea should have fucking scored 2 or 3 or 4 times. Like the
Sterling could have scored 3.
The Sterling double chance was like, oh, I was screaming at my TV.
It's the same thing against Dortmund too. Like Jake said it early, man. Like you guys win the stat columns. It's just that final ball.
Yeah. It's insane. Like when you look at like a team that can handle possession and be able to keep the ball for literally the entirety of the game. Like I'm pretty sure, I think I have it up against West Ham. They had 72% possession.
Sheesh.
And didn't score a single goal, or they scored 1 goal, which super. You score 1.
Oh man, yeah, that was the goal of the month.
Yeah, seriously, the singular. It's fucking terrible.
This is my favorite tweet I've seen all week. That Joao Felix is going to win February goal of the month because it's the only one they've scored.
We've had some months like that last year, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I just got to weather the storm. There's going to be a new magical manager that comes in that's going to turn this team into a top 4 club. Yeah, for now it is brutal.
Well, as you alluded to, there's a big one upcoming this weekend, and we're not going to dive into it today because we're going to hit you all with another episode this week where we break down the upcoming weekend games, and we'll certainly talk about the Tottenham-Chelsea game then. But moving on to the next game of the day, which was City Forest, actually. We'll touch on it quickly because it's worth mentioning as they are in the title race, just sometimes it just rolls off the tongue there. But City Forest 1-1 tie. Wild.
Late goal too.
Late goal.
Was Butch, amazing.
Talk us through it.
I think it's a huge result for you as a United fan, and it's a huge result for Lucas as an Arsenal fan. There's no doubt about that. That's the best scenario you guys could have had, is City either losing or drawing away to Forest, who might we say is a bottom 3-4 club in the league, right? Just crazy, man. Like I look at the City and how they're playing, and I'm sitting here going, I'm like, man, like it's not what we're used to the last 5-6 years. You know what I mean? Like so dominant, so fluid. They sell their best defender to Bayern Munich. They're playing Rico Lewis. I know you guys might be high on Rico Lewis. He's 18, bro. You're not going to win the league with an 18-year-old unproven wingback, okay? Why? So, like, I think Dobes sent a text the other day. He's like, God, if only City hadn't sold their best player to Bayern Munich, like, but it's so true. Like, some of the decision making I don't understand. Like, even if Guardiola did get into a training ground rift with him, there's got to be some sort of one-on-one. Can we work this out? Like, you have to know his value, and there's no doubt that Cancelo would be helping them immensely in the title hunt if he was here. So I'm just trying to figure out like why they sold a piece that was a part of them being so fluid. He did so much. I don't understand, bro.
Do you think Pep's above doing that though? Like, do you think
Pep
thinks that he should make that effort himself rather than Pep actually having to go and do it?
Well, the thing is we don't know what happened. Yeah. None of us know exactly what was said, but none of us know exactly what happened. So if it was really intense and really quote unquote bad on Cancelo's part, then okay, I understand. Like, you want to get the guy out during the window and get the money, whatever. But if it was reconcilable, he's a guy you can't lose. Like, They just don't have the depth at wingback. They don't have the depth like they used to, dude. So like they're gonna get hurt.
The one player in this game is not Like I'm looking at these stats right here: 73% possession to 27% possession, 595 passes completed to 164, 5 big chances created to 0, 5 big chances missed, total shots 23-4. Like Holland missed 2 sitters in this game. That like for 60 minutes of this game, City was the City of old without the 3 or 4 goals that would have made this game over. And I think we do have to give credit to Forrest. I heard Hoove mention, right, we started talking about this. On the Forrest goal, every single player on their 11 touched the ball. Like I went back and saw beautiful. Like it was a TikTok of like them like knocking off every single player. It went back to front from left to right, swing the ball, and then big Chris Wood wide open at the back post just to tap it in.
Mate.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with City. It's just you'd think they'd have that killer instinct because they have a team full of guys who have been in a title race, who have been here and done this stuff before, but for whatever reason, it just seems like they haven't been able to put it together consistently. Like even the game before this against Arsenal, like I think Arsenal was the better team for the majority of that game. City just had the killer instinct. So we're so used to City always being the better team and having that killer instinct where it seems like they haven't been able to put it all together at once.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, and I agree with you. That's why I said it's not the same City as the last 5 or 6 years, because they're just not consistent. Like their consistency's dropped. And we all know you have to be consistent to win the league. You can't be inconsistent, man. I don't know.
I still think I'm going to make a crazy shout here. I'm curious your guys' thoughts here. I know that Arsenal's on top of the league, but I think City are still the favorites to win the league, in my opinion. Like I still think that City are favorites because their 5 hardest games left, like 4 of them are at home versus Arsenal, where they still have to play some tough games. They still have to go to City. And what I've seen out of Arsenal, I'm definitely not convinced out of them either. I just think strictly because of the fact that City has been there and done that, and Pep has been there and done that, that I have to give the edge to them a little bit. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are there.
Yeah, it's a 2-point gap with the game in hand for Arsenal. So let's just say they win that game and it's 5 points with 15 games left. 5 points in 15 games. Like that is way smooth sailing. Yeah, it's very clinchable for City. And most of the time they're more convincing for me than Arsenal. But we'll see what they have moving forward. I feel like we say this like every week, but it depends on what City shows up. It's so weird to say, but it's true. Butchie, moving on to you, brother. Liverpool found some points this week. A 2-0 win over a 10-man Newcastle United off of a Nick Pope shocker of a red card. Which is great for me and great for the United fan base because he's going to be out of the cup final when we play them on Sunday. But I want you to have your moment, Butch. I want to clear the space for you, and I want to quiet everyone's voice so you can talk about Liverpool winning a game because we don't know when it's going to happen again. So go ahead, brother. Have your moment.
Here we go. No, I mean, I hope you guys got to watch some of the highlights or at least watch the game, but we came out absolutely flying. Like we looked so good the first half. We scored 2 early, beautiful goals in the first 20 minutes. Darwin, beautiful half volley. Gakpo, you talk about build up. I hope you guys watched Salah's little ball to Gakpo. Like that was unbelievable.
Didn't.
Class, just world class. So, we're up 2-0, 20 minutes, and then Nick Pope I don't even know. Like, I was watching the game, and my jaw just hit the floor. I don't even know what I saw. I was like, did this dude just bear hug the ball like 40 yards out? Like, what just happened, And I'm screaming red card, and thank God he got sent off. And I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, like now we're just going to open the floodgates. And then in the second half, I told Henry, I was like, it looked like we just got way too comfortable. They were like, oh, we're up 2-0. Away from home at St. James's Park, very tough place to get a win. Let's just ride it out. We did not put our foot on the gas pedal. We just kind of eased off. And then Newcastle had a much better second half. And we looked like our old Liverpool the last 2 months after, the last 2 games we started to look normal. So I'll take the 3 points. Like it's a big win. Like I said, we're the only team in the league that Newcastle's lost twice and we've beaten them twice. And that's a really good team. So
thanks for that.
I think
we need that.
So the Liverpool fans are just grasping for positives.
Yeah. Like Liverpool's had 2 wins on the year against who? Newcastle. Let's talk about it.
Well, hold up. Come on. No, I mean, it was a big win. I think confidence wise, like when you beat, they're top 4, right? They're, right there with Tottenham fighting for 4th. So we're working our way back up. We're 6 points off Newcastle with 2 games in hand. So like, if you think about it, if we win our next 3-4 games, like there's no doubt we're back.
You're in it.
We're back in the top 6. We're there, and I think that's a big positive. Glad to see Gakpo finally get his scoring touch. He's got 2 in his last 2 after he almost went James Bond on us, 007.
So unfortunate. So close.
Dude, so close.
I called him a flop like a month ago, and now I'm eating my words. Now he's scoring goals. So, but no, I mean, also Darwin, like super happy for him. Went off injured in the 65th, but he had a really good first half. Like his goal, if you guys haven't seen it,
class finish.
It was really, really, really top class finish. That's a really difficult skill. I honestly thought he handballed it, and I was about to throw my remote, and then I saw it hit his chest. But again, he's starting. I think he's going to start finding his form. And he actually released a quote. I don't know if you guys saw it. He released a quote yesterday, and he said, a lot of people doubted me at Benfica because his first season at Benfica, he scored like 8 or 9 goals, I think. And he's like, and in my second year, I learned the system. I got a lot more comfortable, and he banged in 30, 35, 37 goals. And he's like, I feel like I'm starting to finally hit my stride here at Liverpool, and I'm going to be a different person. Like he was really open and honest about it. Which gives me hope. Cause I mean, if he knows himself better than anybody else, so if he just needed time to adapt, I really hope like the league sees what Darwin can do. Cause that dude, he's got a good skill set. So we'll see.
It's got to be a shot of confidence for you. In the same quote, he talked about Luis Suarez, at Liverpool as well, about how his first season, he wasn't like a world beater by any means, but then his second season he popped off, and he like made a comparison to it as well. For me, Marcus Rashford last year was just like non-existent. We were Dubs and I were talking about like, is it time to sell Marcus Rashford? Do we get him out of United, whatever it is? And then he had an interview where he was on the shop with LeBron James like over the summer going into this season, and during it they like asked him about like poor form, and Marcus Rashford was talking about like, hey, that happens, like it happens, but I'm never going to lose my confidence. I'm still going to shoot. I'm still going to pull the move because that's the kind of player I am. I'm always going to shoot. And that, for me, listening to that, even though he hadn't yet backed it up this season, like, I mean, he has now, but like that to me was confidence instilling, because it showed me that even though he may not be producing on the field, he's not losing that mentality. And so I read that quote, Butch, from Darwin, and I was like, fuck, I hope that does not happen, because that would suck to watch him just pop off at Liverpool. I hope
everything comes back to Marcus Rashford with Hen. I tell you what,
some way, shape,
or form.
As a United fan, I was like, how did this just go from Liverpool and Hen just brought in Rashford somehow?
Yeah.
I will
Isn't
say
it nice?
it's one of those things where, and this is kind of why we have this podcast, like when a player comes to the Prem and they don't do well, like everybody's going to jump on them and dog them. Like I will still jump on Darwin when he misses chances. Like, not to say there's not a player there. I think we all kind of like in the back of our heads realized that what he did at Benfica, but that's just what happens when you come to the Prem, is you're going to have to sit there and take the heat no matter who you are. Like Anthony does, like Mudryk will have to, like Darwin have to, like Gakpo is having to. And that's just what happens when you play for one of the biggest clubs in the world, like Liverpool, and oftentimes it does take players like Nunez.
Flip it.
Oftentimes like the ability to mentally get yourself more ready for it than it does like the ability wise, because we've seen him have the ability, but can he stand up to the pressure that is playing for Liverpool and the history that comes with Liverpool? And so maybe he's hitting a stride, kind of like Hen said. I hope he's not, but at the same time, like it's just what happens in England. You get that pressure put on you, whether you want it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has all the physical traits. I mean, if he was a pro club build, he'd be scoring 50 goals a game. We would have Darwin Nunez up top every day.
I would hate playing against him if he was a pro club striker.
The Mecca Banter pro
I just want to
clubs.
give a shout out to our listeners here. our Mecca of Banter Pro Club, guys, we're popping off. Division 2, dude. We are popping off. We haven't been relegated.
We got to get a Twitch stream for our pro clubs. Somehow we got to get the Zoom. Yeah, we got to get everything. But we'll get back to you here in a little bit, Butch, because we're going to preview your Champions League game. But moving on to the mighty Manchester United with a convincing 3-0 win over Leicester. Dobes.
And I'm going to let you go first. You couldn't let Butch finish his Liverpool talk. I know you're eager to talk, so I'm going to let you go first here.
Dude.
And then I'll follow you.
Dude. We talked earlier about how Graham Potter refused to make any adjustments at halftime, about how he's continuing to not, see anything different in the team. We have now talked, I believe, on the last 3 podcasts about Erik ten Hag and about how he is a master of the mid-game transition and figuring out what isn't working. We did not look great at all in the first half. We looked fine. Obviously we stayed in the game, but it was not convincing whatsoever. I texted Dobes before the game saying that I haven't been more confident going into a Manchester United game this entire season than I was on Sunday going into this one. I just think that our form right now is fantastic. And then that first half, I was thinking I was going to be eating my words, but man, Marcus Rashford take an absolute bow, an unreal goal, 2 of them. He scored in the 25th and the 56th to continue his red hot form, the most informed player in the entire world right now. I'm not going to go fully on the train, but there have been talks about Marcus Rashford Ballon d'Or this year, which is nuts to say.
Hey, can I pause for a second?
Yeah,
it's in Henry and Dobes' chat.
Hey, it ain't in my chat.
Jake.
I'm not on that train. Don't put me in that category.
Jake, play a game. Every time Henry says Marcus Rashford, you got to take a shot of that bourbon that's on your desk.
It's already empty, bruv. I have to go fill it up.
Pour another glass.
I'm down.
Let's see how
You're
much
toast. Good luck tomorrow.
So, I mean, he's on absolute world-class form, but probably something that won't get talked about a ton. But for me, watching set the tone for the entire game was David De Gea making 2 absolute world-class saves in the first half. He gets a lot of flack for his distribution, but man, is he a shot stopper. He has the occasional howler or 2, not as bad as Hugo, but he still has them. But when he is on, he makes some beautiful saves. He also went even with Peter Schmeichel for most shutouts in United history last game with 180, which is an incredible feat. We all know how big of a legend Peter Schmeichel has been. So big shouts to him. But Erik ten Hag is finding ways to make it happen. Weghorst is playing this 10 hybrid striker role that we saw starting last week. We saw it against Barcelona as well, but we saw it again this week. We're just finding ways to get it done.
David De Gea is the only reason that you stay in that. I mean, that the game goes the way it goes. I think wholeheartedly one of those goals goes in. They had 3 or 4 really fucking good chances, and one of those goes in. I think you're looking at a total different game. But
of course, I think I'll sort of piggyback off of Hen a little bit. I think the other big point I want to make here is I'm obviously ecstatic we won, big win, 3-0. The other point to make here is that since December 27th, we've been playing every 3.5 days. And so the first half, ugly. And oftentimes you think that in the second half, is where these teams that have so much on their legs, they fall off. And Erik ten Hag, at the beginning of the season, said he's not a magician. It just turns out that he somehow pulls this out of his ass. Because the difference I think in United this year is he came in, and this is what you see top managers do. They set the standard, and if you go below the standard, you're just not going to play. And the standard that he set is winning. And if you don't win, you're going to get criticized right after the game by him. You're going to get criticized in training, and then you're not going to play. And so in a game when we didn't have Casemiro, we didn't have Eriksen, we didn't have Antony, we didn't have Martial, we didn't have Varane. There was no moaning, there was no excuses, no whining, just winning. And I think that's the standard that he set. And I'm not going to go all crazy kind of how Hen is, because I know we have a massive week coming up. The only thing I'll say is that for the first time in a while, I've enjoyed watching United. I look forward to watching United every single week. The performances may not be necessarily pretty all the time. But what Erik ten Hag has done is we're not playing the style of football that he wants us to play and what we'll play in 2 years. But he's come in and he's instilled winning. That's like when Hen said he texted me saying that he's the most confident he's ever been. I literally responded to him saying, I'm the exact opposite, because we didn't have all those guys. And so you just don't know how long this team can continue to churn out results. Obviously, I'm happy we are, but at the same time, I'm just going to enjoy this ride, because we came from a team last year that was the worst United team probably ever statistically. And now we're to the point where after April, I think it's like, or excuse me, August 16th, we have the more points than any other team in the Prem gained. Like we lost those first 2 games against Brentford and Brighton, and then we got more points gained than anybody else in the league. So I'm obviously high on United, big week coming up. I'm not one of those that's going to say we're, as much as we're 5 points off top, whatever we are. I don't think the title's in our future. I'm just content with where we're at right now and where our team's going, and especially where the club is going. So I kind of piggyback off of Hen. I'll let Hen kind of do his get on his knees for Rashford a little bit. Obviously, I'm excited for him. But I'm more just excited to actually enjoy watching United every single week versus dreading it last year.
You know, earlier Henry said Liverpool was lucky to find a few points. And I honestly feel like you guys were this week too, because that first half, and this, I'm just showing a little love to Ten Hag, but that first half, you guys were so lucky to not be down 2-3-0. Like Dave did save. That Dave did save.
Yeah.
So in a sense, like I feel like you guys did, like Dope said, you guys did squeak out and churn a result that maybe you didn't wholeheartedly deserve. Cause like I remember I was checking something, like I was watching the game and like maybe a 25-minute mark. And I was just curious. So I looked at FOTMob and Leicester was out shooting United. It was like 7-2 or like 7-3. But like of those 7, 4 or 5 were like big chances. And I was like, dude, Leicester could be up 2-3-0. Like, holy crap, this is crazy. But when you have, obviously De Gea is a great goalie, but when you have a guy like Ten Hag, and I'm going to give him his flowers because he is a phenomenal coach. When you have a guy like that can make the adjustments, dude, and get a result, you guys are very lucky to have a coach like that. Because I know a lot of clubs.
I think the unsung hero, and he won't get any praise from anybody because he hasn't scored and, he hasn't had the assists, but like, you guys are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I don't think United is the team we are right now, at least the way we're playing, without Weghorst.
Oh, yeah.
And I genuinely mean that, because on the stat sheet, he doesn't show up. I'm sitting here looking at most pressure since he's joined. He's 3rd in the league behind Kulusevski and Haaland. And the way that he allows United to play, the difference in what Ten Hag switched, where he put Weghorst up top, is before, with Rashford up top, the 2 center backs for Leicester, they were aware that we wanted to play in behind. And so they played deeper off. So those balls in behind weren't necessarily on. And when Weghorst goes up as the 9 and he checks in more and he's not much of that threat, those 2 center backs step up to pressure him and allows for that Rashford ball in behind and allows for that Sancho run in behind. And so that's that tireless work that Weghorst does, to where people don't notice it because he's not scoring. Yes, he should score. Yes, he's slow as shit. Yes, he's 6'6". But at the same time, like, just the movement that he makes allows for Rashford and for us to get in behind that just goes unnoticed. And also, I just got to give flowers to Sancho. I think the one thing I want to say, and it's Saka as well, the response that you've seen from Saka, Sancho, and Rashford after what happened at the World Cup, or was it the Euros? Excuse me, the Euros.
Yeah.
To where they missed those pens and they could have just flopped. And you've seen Saka be one of the best wingers in the world. Rashford be one of the best wingers in the world. Sancho's not quite there yet, but the mentality those 3 guys have had just to get back to where they are now is outstanding. So I have to give them their flowers as well.
Yeah. I loved that goal that he scored. I thought it was a beautiful team goal. I'm excited for Thursday. We'll dive into that a little bit, but Hoove, round us out. We have a Tottenham win over David Moyes' West Ham, 2-0.
I tell you what, man, it's Christian Stellini, the assistant coach. We got something there, and it's
isn't he undefeated? Dude, isn't he undefeated?
He's him.
I want to. Yeah, actually, the 2 games they lost were when Conte was back. So
I think he's undefeated, bro.
Himmy Stellini.
Dude, Himmy Stellini. I think there's ridiculous cohesion in the team, which is cool to see. because they want to win, which is nice. There's not any sort of, not to pick fun of Chelsea, but there's not that sort of attitude and down, body language on the field. It's never been like that. So that's fun to see. And a win. This was a good win. Anytime Conte's not there, but seriously, dude, Stellini made some changes. Stellini pulled in subs. He had Ben Davies and Emerson Royale looking like, some of the best wingbacks in the world. The goal from Højbjerg to Ben Davies to
that pass
Emerson
from Højbjerg
Royale
was unreal.
was insane. And that guy, that's in his locker. But the entire game, the front three couldn't get at anything. So Richarlison started, which I was excited about, over Sonny. And I don't think he had a poor game, but the front three just couldn't get anything going. So I think second half, the two wing backs in the build-up to the goal were 10 yards-ish inside of the actual wing players in Richarlison and Kulusevski. He was telling them to make those runs because there was nothing getting the ball to the front three, which is kind of, on a low block style team like West Ham, you're going to have a lot of the ball regardless, even when you're the counter-attacking team too. So that was fun. He made a sub. He subbed out Richie in the 67th or something, which is 8 minutes earlier than Antonio Conte would have done it. And then, seeing Sonny score goals is good for the universe. It's good for the world. The guy's just the best. Harry Kane consistently reminds us of just his all-around quality. He's like literally mugging off Agbana, who's one of the biggest, toughest dudes in the league. And he just shrugged him off, no problem, found the second ball, easy one touch to Sonny, and he finished it with confidence, which is not something that we've seen all year. So a lot of positives. No one likes to get too high on the Spurs side of things because, it's the hope that kills you. That's where you get crushed. But you take the points as you get them. It was a good comprehensive win. West Ham had a few chances, but Spurs really could have had 3, maybe 4. It was a Conte masterclass, and he just wasn't on the side of the field. So the tactics are there. The team can do what is needed done. It's just whether or not they actually do it.
Very Spursy of you, Hoove. You haven't even mentioned that you guys just like creeped your way into the top 4. Like here you guys are sitting in 4th. I know that Newcastle has a game in hand, but it was like you're still in the top 4, bro.
Yeah. We're you're happy about it. Like I keep coming back to the point of Spurs, for how they've played this season, are doing really well, and just really realistically shouldn't be where they are, but they find ways to win games sometimes. And I think some players are starting to play better. All we had to do was go out and buy a world-class right back for Emerson Royale to figure out that he was one too, actually. So that's been fun to watch. And he's another one of those guys, like, dude, he's vibes FC. Everybody loves that guy within the team. It's just so aggravating watching him week in and week out underperform. But then when he plays a game like that, he's the man of the match. Yeah. Like, he and Ben Davies are 2 of the best players in the game, which is psychotic to say. And he scored that goal, man, and they mobbed him. They love the guy. So it's fun seeing a team have fun, and I think they need to keep that to stay in top 4. But yeah, top four is massive. Newcastle at best has 1 point out of that game in hand because all they do is draw. So
let me ask you a question, Hoove. And this is, I follow a lot of footy Twitter, and I was following some Spurs Twitter, but obviously you probably know who's the reliable, who's the trust. A lot of Spurs Twitter has been saying that Sonny's better off the bench, at least right now. And I'm curious your thoughts to that because, I mean, yes, he did come on, he scored. So obviously it looks that way, but I'm curious your thoughts moving forward because we saw what Sonny was last year and one of the best wingers in the Prem. So I'm curious your thoughts now.
I think it's, obviously form-based. I think when Sonny's playing the way that he played last season, there's just, you just don't drop him. There's just no reason for him to come off the bench. in a game like this, he's a completely different player than Richarlison and a completely different player than anyone else who's on the field anyway. He is so much more direct, fast, in behind, quick feet, 1-2s, in and out. Whereas Kulusevski likes to get the ball, dribble, build up the play, let people track in, find a cross, find a back post shot. And Richarlison's a 9. I think it's easy to say that because some of his best performances have been off the bench. But even the game against Portsmouth in the FA Cup, they didn't play Harry Kane. They kind of let Sonny do whatever he wanted. He ran all over that team.
Yeah.
You forget that he does that for South Korea and is basically just find the guy, he'll make things happen. So it's weird because, maybe you sub him in again. Like the issue is not whether or not he's off the bench, because I think you need squad rotation as with anything. Sometimes, dude, you just can't play that many games in a row. And he and Harry Kane have played every single game in a row. So that's always a factor. He's just so different that it's hard not to play him. But when he's not playing well, try something, do something else. And then you've got 30 minutes of an absolutely electrifying winger to come in and make game
run it, tired ass wing backs.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I am curious with that loss for West Ham about how much time David Moyes has left. I feel like we've been talking about it for like 2 months now that he might be on the hot seat, but we'll see if he makes it. Looking forward to our episode coming up later this week where we dive into this weekend's games, but that concludes our weekly recap. And moving on to Champions League, we have 4 games coming to you this week. Starting off with Tuesday, we have Frankfurt out of Germany, who's currently sitting 6th in the Bundesliga, which, side note, the Bundesliga is electric right now.
If you don't watch it, watch it. If you don't watch it,
fun.
Turn it on the weekend and watch it.
So fun.
The top 6 or 7 teams are separated by like 3 points. It's so fun, but Frankfurt against Napoli, which Napoli, we don't cover the Italian league too much on this podcast, but take a gander over on the Italian Serie A. They're like 18 points clear right now at the top of the table. They have it locked up. They were the team of the tournament in the group stages of the Champions League. They beat everyone and beat everyone by a lot. I can't imagine this game being anything other than a Napoli win, but is anyone in disagreement of that?
I think we have to sit here and like, why aren't we talking about as Napoli as the best team in the world? And like, I like most consistent, but like week in, week out, Osimhen is world class. I don't even know how to say that guy's name. How do I say it? Starts with a K. Somebody give it to me if you know it. That guy.
Number 77.
Dude, he scored another. I watched the game this weekend. He scored another one. Insane.
I've never even tried to pronounce his name, but he's also insane. Like, I genuinely think there's a shout for them as the most informed team in the world right now.
Absolutely. Every single player on that team is him. They're all himmies, bro. They're all himmies.
We got Himmy and we got Kimmy in the back.
Dude, they're unbelievable. Like, but their style is so fun to watch.
It's electric.
The philosophy that coach has instilled in that team, like, they are just electric football. Unbelievable.
It'll be a fun watch. You have Osimhen up top that you mentioned, Dobes. He's scoring goals, and he's scoring goals of all different kinds from all different angles. He scored one last weekend from literally 0 angle, like basically on the goal line, on the right touch line with his right foot. Just ridiculous. But it'll be a fun one. That one. Frankfurt, obviously they won the Europa League last year. They have a couple of guys on their teams. To me, other than Paxton Aronson, I wouldn't say that they have a superstar, but we have little 19-year-old Paxton Aronson to rep the Americans.
They have fantastic
great kids.
Yeah.
Amazing kids. You might find one. You might find one at the Nike outlet in Chesterfield. You never know.
Mario Götze scored 1 big goal in his career, so that's a guy on Frankfurt that we know of.
So we'll see that one. It will be an electric game, but probably not the most electric game on Tuesday, as we have Real Madrid against Liverpool, which this year may look like the matchup of the Champions League so far, but both teams, I will say, have been underperforming this year. Underwhelming, really, I feel like is the better word. Underperforming for sure to what we'd expect, but underwhelming when I watch them. So, Mr. Butchart, predictions for this?
This is hard to predict, man, because you guys know of all the history between these two clubs. Like,
I wish
Real
Ramos was
Madrid.
playing.
I mean, dude, like there's so much bad blood and history over the last 5 years with all the Champions League finals that we played in against each other. You know, it's hard to predict, man.
Sick. I played in one against you too, bitch.
I'm sorry, bro. You know, the thing that scares me the most is the midfield, because I've been bantering about this all season on this podcast. Like, our midfield at Liverpool this year is so underperforming, and Thiago's still hurt. So if we don't have Thiago playing in this game, it's like, well, how are we gonna stop the rhythm of Modric, all these guys in there, like Valverde, like these guys that are just ballers, just world-class ballers? How are we going to stop the
Tchouameni, bro?
I was gonna say
Tchouameni,
the benefit for you, Butch, is Cruz and Tchouameni are both out.
And that's still, but the depth, they're going to slide Valverde back, and then they're going to play
Camavinga,
It's
Modric.
Like, you know, it's just so difficult to stop the Real Madrid midfield, like the last 10 years have been for many clubs. So can we score? Yes, I think we can easily score in this game, no doubt. But it's really going to be a matter of, can we keep them off the score sheet, and can we just really disrupt their rhythm? Because if we can't, we're in trouble. We are in severe trouble. They got Big Benz up top. They got Vinny Jr., freaking 99 FIFA sprint speed out there on the left. They got Rodrigo on the right. You know, they got some pace. They got some dogs. So I'm a little nervous, dude. Jake, what do you think, bro?
I think it'll be really fun to watch. I think it'll be really fun to see how the guys play, especially for me, seeing a Real team that hasn't been quite in form as of late, and then seeing a Liverpool team that, you know, finally got a win. Who knows how that'll propel them for the next game.
Dude, I think we talk about the second half Liverpool team. If they show up, the team that was against Newcastle at any point against Real Madrid, I think we're talking blood.
But the thing is, that's weird. Is like, I'm watching Real Madrid over the weekend, and they're not good right now. Like, I mean, bad.
There's something
like,
about Madrid in the Champions League.
I know.
Just a little
Carlo
magic,
Ancelotti. Also,
I'm looking at the lesser two evils, bro.
Vinny versus Trent.
That's what I was gonna say, bro.
Yeah.
That's the matchup that we are going to watch.
Dude, Trent's gonna send him for a freaking chili dog.
I feel like it's been far too long since we've talked shit on Trent Alexander-Arnold's defending, and this Tuesday is gonna be that day.
I'm pretty confident we did last week.
Like I said, far too long. We can't go 7 days without it. Come on.
Butch, what's the deal with Nunes? So is he out for tomorrow? Like, I know he came off.
I was reading.
Fatma Blissum is doubtful, so I don't.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good shout. I was reading today. It does not look good for him tomorrow, which also is a big blow. But we did get Jota and Firmino back, so we have 4 options up there. If we start Jota, I would not be upset about that. I think Jota's always been a really good player. So
is this his first game back?
Well, he's come off the bench the last 2. Yeah. So I think he's ready.
Shows
for 90.
how much I've watched Liverpool.
Yeah, he's ready for 90, which means Gakpo might play off the left. Who knows? He might keep Gakpo in the middle.
I rate a healthy Jota too.
I like Jota too. I was just
Jota's a dog.
He's a fun player.
Yeah,
he's a dog. So if he's back and he's ready, like, he could do some damage, man. But they got Big Benz, bro.
Mr.
Kareem
Champions
Big
League.
Benz Benzema.
And
The guy is
Benzema
just
as well.
a dog. You know Benzema's gonna make something happen. So I'm nervous because our freaking Joe Gomez, shit, dude, Joe Gomez is not it. So if he starts in this game, oh my god, dude.
Said shit.
Shit.
Butchie, can you give us a score prediction for this game?
Oh shoot.
You guys it's at Anfield, right?
Yeah, this is a
Yes,
huge one.
correct. And that's why, yeah, who's right? Like this is it. Like we have to get some kind of result in this leg. I'm gonna take. I'd be really happy with like a 2-1 win at home. We are not going to shut them out. I don't think we're shutting them out. They're going to score. I don't think like I said, Joe Gomez, it's right there. 2-1 Liverpool. Mo Salah
Tasty.
with a deuce.
Oh man. That's big. I was going to say like 1-0 Real Madrid with a Benzema pen.
Cap.
I feel like it's going to be a brutal game.
I think that's a great shot.
Moving on to Wednesday, starting off Wednesday Champions League, we have Inter Milan versus Porto. Who wants to take this one?
That's a tasty tie.
Anytime you play these Portuguese teams, bro, they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
They're dangerous. And I don't think Inter is where they want to be either.
Especially after the season they had last year.
Yeah. There's guys underperforming. There's guys not performing. There's guys not playing. Lukaku's a ghost.
I was going to say, I'm just going to take Porto because Inter still has Lukaku.
I think Porto might be a great shot. They're dogs.
Yeah, this is a tough tie, bro. Like Inter Milan's, they got some good players, but Porto, dude, they're good, man.
I'm gonna go 2-2 just for fun.
Just for the goals.
Just for goals. Yeah. I probably will watch City, so I'm gonna go 2-2.
The last time Porto didn't win a game was January 7th, and they tied 0-0. November 25th before that, tied 2-2. These guys just win games.
That's a crazy stat.
Phenomenal coach, by the way.
I mean, they punked their group in the group stage, dude. I mean, I don't know. I'm with Porto, frankly.
I'm gonna second that hoof. I'm going Porto as well.
Love it. The Mecca of Banter with Team Porto.
Yeah. Team goals.
The saucy one of Wednesday is going to be Leipzig versus Manchester City. A Manchester City that we believe is throwing everything into the Champions League. It's a do or die tournament this year around for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. I don't think that Leipzig are going to be a pushover. As we mentioned, the Bundesliga is on fire this year, and they're up there. Nkunku is officially back. He came on, over the weekend and had an assist, just back to business as usual. And they're playing a crazy, like a 3-4-2-1 lineup like they always do, and it's fun to watch. So I think that City are the favorites. Actually, fun fact, of all of the 4 games, there's only 2 teams that are like favorites of the entire weekend or the entire Champions League, which is Inter Milan and Manchester City. So Manchester City technically is the favorite, but I do think that it's going to be an absolute game.
Damn shame I can't root for Nkunku anymore. I used to love that guy.
I know.
It's so fun to watch, bro. I'm pissed.
Jake's
I'm pissed
over
about
there.
that one. So dumb.
I'm very excited for the future Chelsea man.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Dude, something in my gut I think City's gonna just come out and fly. I don't know, man. Something in my gut's telling me
You think
they might
roll?
be all in, like you said. Huh?
You think they roll? Just like
I do.
3-0?
I just meant like I think they're gonna come out and have just a monster game. Like I think you could be right in what you mentioned earlier. Like they might be all in on the Champions League to where like we haven't seen the best City this past month, but maybe this Champions League game gets the best out of them again, and they just get absolutely like a released. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just what my gut's telling me.
I think City let up goals. I think there's goals for this one. I don't have a game prediction as much as I do just think Red Bull have been on a streak for the most part. They've been playing really well, and they score a lot of goals when they do. As do City. So I think, City's attacks, just no one's in the world is stopping them. It's just whether or not you can, besides Tottenham Hotspur, but that's a different story. But I think there's goals.
What I like about Leipzig, obviously, is Nkunku. I love him up top. But I think they're dangerous on set pieces. Dominic Szoboszlai is unreal from a dead ball. He's kind of like, he's up there with James Ward-Prowse technically when it comes to statistical conversion of a dead ball. He's up there, and Manchester City don't defend them very well. They're also really quick on counters, which Manchester City do not defend very well. And then Nkunku just is special. He pops up anywhere around the field and makes things happen. But what I specifically like about Leipzig is their midfield. Again, I'm going to press the button. The game is typically won and lost in the midfield, and Leipzig's is really strong. Again, with that system that they play, like that 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-1-2, whatever it may be. It's really compact on the inside of the field. A lot of those midfielders have the exact same profile where they're just aggressive. They're ball winners. They're nothing flashy. They're going to go into tackles. They're the guys that everyone wants on their team, but they may not be going for like 60 million, 70 million, but they're ball winners. Tyler Adams used to be there. Sabitzer used to be there. Just ball winners. They really like it. So I think that this will be a good test for City. But kind of like what we said about Benzema in the Champions League, Haaland's kind of that guy as well. His scoring record in the Champions League is disgusting. The best conversion rate of games and goals in the Champions League in history. So it'll be fun to watch.
Going up against my guy Guardiola from the World Cup.
Very true.
That's my dog.
What do we think predictions here on this one?
3-1 City.
I'm gonna go 2-1 City, but I think this generally on paper this isn't like the best game of the round, I guess you could say, with just the Liverpool Madrid. I think the potential has to be the best game, at least in terms of what actually happens on the field, because Leipzig is no slouch. Kind of like what you're saying, Hen, and City isn't exactly like we've all kind of like said. City's not the City that we've seen for the past couple of years. So I could see this being a very good game. I'm going to go like 2-1 City, which would be a massive result because it is away.
I think for that reason, I'm going 2-1 Leipzig. I think it's going to be an upset.
I second that. Yeah, I second that. With Nkunku gets at least one.
Yeah, it's just points, man. Butchie, what about you? What are your thoughts? Oh, Butch, did you mute yourself, bruv? Did you mute yourself?
We lost him.
But in the technology issues this kid has, man.
Butch, take out your AirPods, man.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
so you know, if there's Spanish people on the field, then they're going to be the best.
Well, you know, Butch, maybe leave and rejoin the party here. I don't know, but you know, I will say that after what is this, episode 19 or 20? I don't remember, something like that. This is the first time that we've had a muting issue on the podcast. Think about how many work calls we're on Zoom or Teams or whatever it is where you have to tell people to unmute themselves. This is the first time. This is groundbreaking stuff for the Mecca podcast. Finally, we have the Europa League second leg between Manchester United and Barcelona. Last week, it was a 2-2 game at the Camp Nou. Pretty controversial. Could have been some major calls on both sides, potential sending off for Koundé that didn't get called, and a potential handball inside of the box later for Fred that also didn't get called. Pretty chaotic, if you ask me. For me, this is going to be a big statement for Manchester United and Ten Hag. Barcelona, this will be interesting to note. Barcelona will be without Gavi due to suspension, Pedri due to injury, Dembele to injury, and potentially no Busquets to injury, because Busquets is just now coming back into the lineup. He was a sub, an unused sub over the weekend. Dobes, what are your thoughts on this second leg?
First off, I think you can kind of describe where United is at based off the fact we went to the Camp Nou, we tied 2-2, and it felt like, to most people in the fan base, it felt like a loss. And I think that's just states where we are as a club right now. I also think I'm just super impressed because if you look at like Barcelona this season, They've only conceded 7 goals in 22 games, which is the fewest allowed in La Liga history. Barcelona has 59 points from 22 games, which is the most in their club history. And we can go back and just sort of list all of these unbelievable Barcelona teams that there've been. You know, they're unbeaten in 13 games. It's the second longest streak in Europe's top 5 leagues. And we went into Camp Nou and could have scored 5. And I think that Barca, it may speak a little bit to La Liga and the difference in levels from the Prem to La Liga, but I don't think that Barcelona was expecting that performance out of United at all. I don't think they expected us to come into the game, take the game to them. I think they probably expected us to sit in, hit on the counter, where for a lot of that game, we were on the front foot. And I think that speaks to a lot of our experience. Like I read a stat today where Casemiro and Varane have played more in more El Clasicos than anybody on the Barcelona team combined, which I just think is the experience that comes with playing in these games. And so I think when you sort of break down to the second leg, I think the having Martinez back, hopefully having Antony back, and actually being able to see a Casemiro Sabitzer midfield for the first time with the combination of Pedri and Gavi being out, probably no Busquets, I definitely like our chances. And I also think that Erik ten Hag has made Old Trafford a fortress again for the first time in so long, to where we play on the front foot at home. We play better soccer at home. And I'm honestly pretty confident going to this game. This isn't to by any means like slight Barcelona, because I think if they were to catch us, like nobody's gonna be like, it wouldn't be necessarily a surprise. It'd be definitely a letdown for us, but they have also been absolutely outstanding this year. So I'm super excited for this fixture, but I'm more excited just to see United as a full squad, hopefully for the first time in forever, which even without that Sabitzer in the midfield last week and Martinez is a back we know we play better with, we still went in and tied 2-2, and at least I was pissed with the result. So very excited for Thursday. And I think this has the potential to be a defining sort of moment for United to knocking out Barcelona. I do have to throw out the stat because, we're going to get shit. Yes, it is the Europa League. I want you guys to know that, yes, it is the Europa League, but at the same time, if we're kind of diving into how many people watched the Europa League, I think it was something like 13 million people watched Chelsea versus Dortmund. I think it was something like 113 million watched the Super Bowl. 116 million people tuned in to watch a Europa League game. So as much as it is Europa League, yes, we don't want to be there. The 2 biggest clubs in the world, we're going at it, and the world definitely cares. So as much as you guys want to give shit about the Europa League, the rest of the world cares about
it. I love that stat.
I'm giving a lot of credit to those psychotic Barca fans, but yeah, you can take that, sure.
I will happily take it.
Not only take it, I'll eat it up.
Man, Nick Hayflinger, I can just hear his voice now talking shit about the Europa League. But the fact of the matter is we have a huge game on Thursday, and it's fun to watch that vibe.
I want to get the fellas' thoughts real quick, because I don't know if you guys watched the United Barca game, but like as a neutral, it was an electric game. It had everything you'd want, had controversial, should have been a red, should have been a pen. So I'm curious, like as a neutral's perspective, what your guys' thoughts are on this game Thursday.
I think those guys that they don't have are huge. I think if you've got a majority of the core that you've already have, frankly, that's a good result at Camp Nou too. It's going to be tough, I think, for Barca. And I do, they do have as many points as they have. I know you mentioned that stat, and amongst the teams that they're compared to, they're not comparable. I think La Liga's not as strong this year as it's been
I'm with that for sure. Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
I still think it's, you're what are they, like 6 or 7 points up clear of Madrid. That's still, something to take credit for. And it's a better Barcelona team than we've seen recently. So I think that's, I would be feeling good. There's a huge, where my mental is at. If my team were to go to Barca and come back 2-2, I'm thinking, fucking hell, bro. Yeah. I'm eating that up. We're going home. All that takes is a scruffy, 1-0. But I think you guys have I think you should win. I think you should win wholeheartedly. Like, going into a 0-0 match at home against a hindered Barca side, that's a game with the form that you guys have been in. You should win.
I'm with that.
Yeah,
Butch, give me your go ahead, Jake.
Sorry. just to cut in, I believe Busquets will be ready to play. Xavi yesterday, after their match against Cadiz, said today he was ready to play. He should be good for Manchester. So just throwing that in the mix. Yeah, at least for me, I think it's a Manchester United win, as much as I hate to say it.
I love that noise. I love it.
I just think having.
Why do you think I asked the question?
Yeah, I think having your boys out of the midfield for Barcelona is tough, man. Like those are guys you rely on heavily. I think it's gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be an absolute sweepstakes out there, but I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. I think United get the win.
The resident Barcelona fan here, Ryan Butchart. Butchie, we can't hear you.
Oh, Butchie is just gonna die.
I think it might be your AirPods, bro. I think it's your AirPods.
It's gotta be your AirPods, dude.
Because I could hear noise on your desk whenever your AirPods weren't in.
I can hear you.
For those that are listening, Ryan is our resident grandpa. So
when it comes to technology, so this man not being able to work his AirPods.
No, Butch.
Nothing. Yeah.
if you're listening, go check out the YouTube to see Butch get mad.
Well, I think it's also going to be a Manchester United win, and I don't need to tell you that. But I think being at Old Trafford, being in that fortress, like Dobe said, I just can't see anything other than a win. And it sets up a huge week. Dobes, you alluded to it earlier, but we have Barcelona on Thursday. We have the Cup final on Sunday. It's going to be a big week for Manchester United. I can't even imagine the momentum that we take into the weekend if we win this game.
It's intriguing just thinking about lineups, like because everybody wants to participate. Everyone wants to participate in this game Thursday, but everybody also wants to play in the final. So I think we do see guys like Martial try to come back this week, Anthony try to come back this week, just to potentially be like in contention to at least play Sunday. But I think that we've seen it all year from Ten Hag. We're rolling the dogs every single game that we can because we have to. The most important game is the next game. So where, yes, the final's important. But at the same time, I think this Barcelona game is equally important, if not more important, in my opinion.
Word. Well, it looks like Butch is about. Oh yeah, Butch, are you back?
Just trying to
Butch?
connect. Oh,
Let's talk. We got you, bro.
I don't know if he has us.
Oh man, Butch.
I can't hear anything, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear you.
I can't hear a single word that anybody's saying right now. But I'm going give my thoughts on Barca United. Shit. This pains me. I hate United, dude, but I think they're gonna go through. I think the injury list, it's too big a key players for me, and I just genuinely feel like Pedri and Gavi, they facilitate so much and they create so much. The only way I think Barcelona can go through is if Lewandowski has a huge game. Like he's got to be a poacher in the box. He's got to create. He's got to drop back and link up. He's got to be just like an all around. He's got to have like a Benzema performance for me. We'll see what he does, but freaking Ten Hag, man. I think United's going through.
Well, can you not hear us?
That's all I got.
I don't think he can hear us, bro.
Well, that is unfortunate. We're going to work through the technical difficulties with Butch, so hopefully he can rejoin for the Factor Cap. But we'll see. As we said, it's going to be a big week for Champions League, Europa League. Hopefully we'll get to you guys later this week with a second episode to preview the upcoming weekend. But if we can get Butch back, we are going to do the Fact or Cap. Our weekly favorite part of the podcast is Butch's Factor Cap, brought to you this week by technical difficulties. If you are in the year 2023 and figuring out how to use Zoom, this one is for you. So, Coach Butchart, Factor Cap.
So, fellas, sorry for the audio. You guys know me in technology, man. My Factor Cap is actually, I've been thinking about it for a few days because, I've been watching the recent results. Henry's about to literally like be the happiest guy on planet Earth because it's Marcus Rashford base. So Jake, get your bourbon ready. Dobes has got his face in the mic. So I want you guys to be honest with me, okay? We are, as you guys know, the Ballon d'Or is now club scene based. It is not calendar year based. So that means August to May, they pick like a Ballon d'Or top 3, whatever, or a short list, and they pick their 3. So will Marcus Rashford make the podium? I'm not saying he's going to win, but will he make the podium? Fact or cap? Like, you just remember, like, he's got to make the top 3 to make the podium. Like, I'm not saying he's going to win it.
I'm still going to go cap. I love the guy. He's the most informed striker in the world. I do think in order to make the podium, you need to be playing in the Champions League and not the Europa League. That's where I think it matters. I also think that we would need to win more trophies than just one, which it's possible, but I think like the Carabao Cup in top 4 is still my goal for the season. So I typically you see the person that is, or the people that are in that, like Jorginho, for example, was close. And that was because they won the Champions League, because he was the most important player, or not most important, but a big important player on the Champions League winning squad, as well as Italy, who won the Euros. And so I think that's the reason. I just don't think United has the legs to win more competitions that he would need in order for him to be in that conversation. I do think he still continues to score at the rate that he's scoring, but I don't think that necessarily automatically puts him in the top 3 voting. I think he gets there one day. I think maybe next year, if he continues this and we're in the Champions League, then it becomes a real shout. But I just think this year I don't think we're in the right competitions for that to happen.
I'm with you. I think that's a great shout about the Champions League too, because you look at the guys that's
where it matters.
Yeah, I mean, we can count however many goals Mbappe and Messi and Neymar have in France, but all that anyone's taking a look at is how they're performing outside of France. And, all they have to do is back up their domestic league with an insane European performance, and they're already on that podium. So I think that's a really good shout. There's a list of 5 to 10 guys probably that are getting that opportunity. Not that Marcus doesn't, that it's not deserved. It's he doesn't have the opportunity to show that he is that guy yet, but he's playing well.
Dude, I so badly want to say fact, obviously, because he's my guy. And what's interesting is I think the Champions League is the main deterrent in this, but I think about who would be on that podium. Messi is the clear one, obviously coming off of the World Cup and everything that he did this year. But mind you, since the World Cup, Marcus Rashford has more goal contributions than all 3 of those guys put together. He has more than them. So that's a statistic that's pretty crazy. I just don't know who else would be up on that podium right now, because Haaland, let's say that City don't win the Prem and they don't win the Champions League. PSG very well could be knocked out of the Champions League like this round.
I still think Haaland's on there.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I think if they bottom out of everything and he scores 40 goals.
Yeah,
you
think so?
Yeah, I think that's hard to deny.
Yeah, I guess the podium isn't necessarily winning. That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna go cap as well, and I really want to say fact. It'll just be cool for what it's worth if we get to May and he puts in another 10, he puts in another 12 goals. It'll be a pretty cool performance. But I'm gonna go cap as well, just because I think it's too high right now.
Yeah, I think at least for me, it's a cap. I think some of the other guys, and it's not because of what Marcus Rashford's doing, because he's been incredible, especially the second half of the year. I just think it's what some of these other guys have done. I think it's not his play, but more importantly, like what these other guys have done, especially with World Cup play and some other stuff surrounding it. I think that's a big part of it, at least for me.
Butch?
honestly, like the one thing I want to say about this, like I think we all know Messi's going to win because of what he achieved at the World Cup, and I think that like solidified everything for me. Like I think Messi is an obvious winner. Mbappe will probably be there, but like that third spot, like it's hard because like Holland has done some amazing things. Like there's some players who've done some big things, but like Marcus Rashford, like he scored almost every single game he's played since November. So that's pretty incredible. So I mean, my only thing was if he does this for the rest of the year until May, where he's scoring almost every day, like there's no doubt he will have a shot for that third spot. Like, but if United win some trophies, he's in. I think he's in.
But that'd be incredible.
Nobody's beating Messi. Messi's winning it. It's already over for me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well decided. Well, thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to the fellas for this week's episode of the Mecca of Banter podcast. Again, follow us on all of our socials. We are live on the TikTok, on the Instagram, on the Twitter. As always, if you hear something that you want us to react to, if you want to see some things that maybe you're not seeing on the channel, let us know. We love interacting with people. What we found is on TikTok, people are incredibly fragile. And as this is the Mecca of banter and not the Mecca of hugs and kisses, as we've alluded to several times, it is amazing what a one-word comment on a TikTok can send people into a spiral on. You throw an overrated or underrated or Potter out on a couple TikToks, people start losing their minds.
I'd be lying if one word hasn't sent me into a spiral sometimes. So
yeah, we heard Arnautovic 6 months ago and we went into a spiral. So an absolute spiral. So fellas, good job this week. Excited to listen to this one back, and we'll catch you later this week. Cheers, y'all.
Yeah,
cheers, fellas.